I need to repot some Monstera desperately. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose, this is Thijs, and this is a very necessary repot video. I was actually setting up all of my Monsteras for a nice Monstera Monday photo for Instagram with all my babies. When I was taking Thijs out of his pot, this is my Thai constellation, which has grown this beautiful new leaf. If you haven't seen it on Instagram yet, it's basically a half moon leaf on a Thai constellation, which I'm obsessed about. But I couldn't get him out of the pot, out of the outer pot, and then I noticed why. There's so many roots, so I decided I do have to really repot it. So that's what we're doing in this video. We're repotting one Monstera and maybe a few more, because I noticed that some of the babies also might desperately need a repot. And I actually already did 2 yesterday, which I didn't film because I thought it was just 2 plants, but now it might be the whole family. Let's go! And since I'm editing this about 2 months after filming, I will show you updates on all the plants as I show you them. So when taking a plant out of the pot, when it has this wild growing roots, I try to get them out through the holes in one piece, which is really fun to see. Hopefully it works out on this one. So just loosen the pot by squeezing it to make sure some soil maybe comes out already, and the roots that are attached to the inside of the pot let go. I had one yesterday that was very hard to get out because it was so stuck to the pot, but this one seems to be okay. So then gently grab the base of the plant, so not the leaves or anything but the base, and then start to pull. There we go. Careful for the beautiful roots. Keep going. Yay! There we go. Look at those chunky roots. That's awesome. Apparently these plants are quite prone to root rot and a little bit sensitive, more sensitive than regular Monstera deliciosa variegata, or elbow as Americans seem to call it. So let's check the roots before we repot. Just loosening the root ball a little bit to make sure I take those dead roots out that might be in there. Okay, that should be good. Since it is spring, I am gonna go for quite a much bigger pot because I know this will do a lot more growing throughout the season. If it was winter, I might even put this back in the same pot, just keeping the roots inside. Since this soil still looks really good, I only repotted it about 3 months ago. I'm gonna put this back in at the bottom. I don't know if that is recommended or stupid or anything, but like I always say, I'm not an expert. This is just my experimenting with plants and sharing it with you. Since I noticed that it was growing kind of sideways, I'm gonna pot it against one side of the pot now so that there is space for it to kind of keep growing sideways and keep growing those aerial roots back into the soil to give the plant more stability and just everything, happiness, joy, love, all the things. In here I've got some fresh soil, my own soil mix. If you want to see the video of how I mix this soil, check out this video. Woo! Shoot. I'm not making a mess. And one thing I have noticed is that it is really important to really push down to make sure that the roots are stable and the plant is stable. So don't be too cautious with it. Hey Maxer! The only thing is that this pot is so big now that I might have trouble finding an outer pot for it, since I use inner and outer pots, but we'll see how it goes. So that's Thijs, and actually you can see here there is an aerial root already starting to grow and reach towards the soil. So I'm really excited for that to reach it and create even more happy roots. Here is the update 2 months later on Thijs, the Thai constellation. This leaf did really well. Even after the repot, there was no signs of struggle. And it has put out another leaf, which is a lot bigger and not as much variegated. Look how big that is. So cool. It seems like really on this side of the plant, they are all just mottled leaves. And then on this side of the plant, there is the highly variegated leaves. With this one also had a lot of white, but that became brown and died off. So that happens when you get big chunks of white sometimes. But so far on these other two, there is no browning or anything, even though I currently am dealing with some thrips up there in my variegated monsteras situation, which I'll talk about a little bit later in this video as well. Let's check the others real quick. I noticed this one was in the tent, and you can hear when I squeeze it, you can hear the roots letting go of the side of the pot, which kind of tells me that there are a lot of roots touching the pot. So let's check it out. There's not so many at the bottom. If you see here, there's just one peeking out. Can we see that properly? No, there's a few, but they're not really growing out yet. Again though, here I noticed that because it's growing sideways, the aerial root is growing into the pot almost. And of course I prefer that to grow into the soil to keep the plant happy and stable. So pulling this out. Nope, it's not ready to go yet. Woohoo! That is a lot of roots. Awesome. This is my favorite propagation because it keeps making half moon leaves, as you can see here. It's really beautiful, and the mama leaf as well, or papa leaf, I don't know. I can't believe I grew this one all the way in my own care. That is awesome. When I see that the roots are really circling around the pot, I try and loosen them a little bit, but in general I try to leave them alone. And actually before you repot these, it is good to make sure they are well watered and fertilized, which I didn't do with this one specifically, so my bad. Let's check this big one. This was the top cutting. This leaf it put out while it was being repotted, so you can see it had the big holes, but it did have trouble. It took a long time for this to come out and harden off. And then the next leaf that came out is a little bit less mature, so there are no secondary fenestrations here yet, the little holes. And here you can see the aerial root that is just growing all the way out of the pot, so that's why I wanted to repot this one as well. I can see roots growing around the top of the soil even here, so this one probably will also be happy to be repotted. At the bottom of the pot you see a few roots coming out, but not a lot. Let's try. Ugh. Oh shoot, look at that. Root porn. That's a lot of roots. And you can see it here, the big roots are growing upwards again because there's no space. That's definitely ready for a repot. This is so fun. This is like a little puzzle, and I love puzzles. They're literally circling the top. I should have repotted this sooner. Did it come out of this? No, it came out of this. So that's, again, a really big step. But I feel like with this one, it would grow out of the pot really quickly. So we're just gonna go for the big one. Let's just do it. Now I am mixing up soil between different plants. I am quite confident that my plants don't have pests or diseases, and this is not gonna mess them up. But if you do have pests in your collection, be very careful with reusing soil and stuff like that. You don't want to spread it. I'm gonna try and pot this again on the side so that all the roots can go into the soil. But already that's pretty hard. I might actually put this upwards a little bit so it's more growing straight up from now on, hopefully. Go down. Go down. There we go. It's a little bit weird now, but once the plant has settled, it should be good. And I'm running out of soil. Here we see the updated version of this plant. The sun also is shining, which is amazing. And I just want to show you, it's sitting right next to Ollie, who is flowering right now. Amazing. I'm so happy. Look at all the nectar. That's for a different video. But look, since I potted it up quite differently than before, you can see it's kind of become a root fest. And since the aerial roots were pointing out towards the outside of the pot, I use these little skewers. They're not necessary anymore, I think, because the roots are now growing into the soil, but I use them to softly push the aerial roots towards the soil. And at first it's just like bending them a little bit, and then the more they move with me, the more easy it is to get them to grow into the soil. So that's a fun tip for you to try. You can see all the pest protection that's on here. I think the last time you saw this, whoops, let's see, it had this leaf here, also really dusty from renovations. It's a little bit harder to see with the sunlight, but we have here the latest leaf, and it's so pretty. There's a lot of white in it. It's shiny in the sunlight, but it looks really good. It looks healthy, looks happy, and I'm happy that it's growing again. So we're just gonna pop this back. Look, you can look through. Wow, so pretty. I think for this one, I'm actually going to use this bigger pot. Even though it's a lot bigger, it's a lot bigger. Okay, let's make some more soil first.
5 minutes later.
I'm back. And while we're here, I thought it would be fun to just show you all the monsteras that I currently have growing. The big one is named Ferry and currently looks like this. Another leaf opened recently. It's still a little bit floppy, as you can see, but it's still doing good. Since filming, I don't think it has done a lot because the leaves, the growth definitely slowed down a lot, but there are 2 leaves here that they are still a little bit dusty. Ignore the dust, we've been renovating the house. And this one, you can still see there's secondary fenestrations. So this was from the end of last summer, and then the next 2 don't have secondary fenestrations, as you can see, but a nice amount of white. So this is full summer growth with holes, and this is more winter spring growth. But it's finally getting warmer here, so hopefully he is growing more and more quickly now again. This is one propagation that has put out 2 new leaves. This one is a little bit funky looking, which I really liked. And then this bigger one, actually, I'm feeling a root coming out of the pot already. I didn't expect to have to repot this. And I'm also not gonna, because it's just 1 root. And this is quite a big pot for the propagation. This was the lowest node of the plant that I cut before the mother plant, basically. And because the aerial roots had already grown into the soil, it has a lot of roots. This is the update on that plant. This was the last leaf you saw, and it's made 2 since. This really, really beautiful one that is kind of funky because this seems to have only 1 layer of green and 2 of white, which makes it kind of minty. And then on this side, a big patch of regular green, which is a little bit bigger. It always gets lopsided when they do that. And then this last one opened recently. It's beautiful. It's a little bit floppy still. I love it very much. And if you look at the stem, again, everything is very dusty, so please ignore. You can see how thin the stem was when it came out. And because I gave it some support, I actually should give this more support now. It gets quite a little bit chunkier. This aerial root, I just used the skewers to make it grow into the soil a little bit more, to give it even more stability, because this plant is literally this very, very short stem with some roots. And then the mother plant is this one, which has 2 active growth points and 1/3 that was growing but not anymore. This has put out 2 leaves on this one, and also, oh, the second one on this side one is coming out. So this doesn't need a repot either. It does need water, it's really dry. Whoops. This is the update on the mama plant. It has a lot of leaves, as you can see, which is a benefit of having 2 growth points on 1 plant. This side had I think this leaf, wait, yes. So it already had this really funky leaf. Like I said, they get a little bit deformed with the variegation. And this one. So these two new leaves that came out, this was the first of the two. It's actually very pretty. Has some cool camo look. And then this latest one is very white. It's actually the one that I posted on my Instagram on Monday. And it has a fenestration. I think it's the first, yeah, it's the first fenestration on this plant. And then this other side had the second leaf opening. So this was still in the opening process. It's also very pretty. I like that it has a little bit more green, so it's a little bit more strong. That white looks very white. I was worried that it might have been paint from renovations, but it actually just looks like variegation. Whoops. And there's the other smaller leaf, and this is the latest one that opened up. It again has a lot of white, and it looks really good. Looks really happy so far. The third point that was on here, I'll show you the stem. So this mama plant, here's the base of this plant. It's kind of hard to show you, wait, this is better. So this is the base of the plant, how I got it, the original cutting, and then the growth that it had where I cut it. And it has one coming from there, one coming from here. And it looks like the last node that was activated is kind of browning and dying off now. So that's kind of new. Yeah, I don't expect that to grow anymore because it already has 2 active growth points that are beautiful. And I think someone is going to be very happy one day with this plant because, you know, I'm not keeping all of these. I'm just hoping to get rid of thrips first, and then I'll sell a few of them on my Instagram page. So yeah, that's the mama. And then this one I repotted yesterday. I actually feel that it's very, hey Maggie, airy still at the bottom, which I don't think that's necessarily good. I didn't press it down apparently hard enough, but I repotted this yesterday and I hope it's going to be a beautiful one. Here is the update. This is definitely a beautiful one. This is the leaf that was already there when you saw it. On the older leaf, you can see the brown, the thrips damage. Unfortunately, this one had a lot of that as well here in the back. So I'm keeping an extra big eye on this. Here are the other 2 leaves that it grew for me. This really cute one with 1 fenestration on each side and a kind of a half moon look. And then this latest one just opened a few days ago. It's still floppy. And it's like the bottom half is white instead of one side. So it's kind of different and kind of cool looking. This is the other one that I posted on my Instagram, so check that out here. I try and take really good pictures for my Insta. I really enjoy making them and making them look pretty, showing you what the plants look like. So far, so good. On the new leaves, you don't really see thrips damage, but I have spotted 1 or 2 mature thrips in the past few days. So I'm keeping a really, really close eye. And I hope that all my predatory mites, oh, look at that dust. My predatory mites are working hard. I'm putting out a video about this very soon, which you'll be able to see hopefully next week actually, about thrips treatment with predatory mites in collaboration with this brand EntoCare, which is where I get all my predatory mites. It's actually best to get these bugs from a company in your own country because they are not the easiest to ship, of course. They are live animals, live bugs, insects. But more on that in that future video, not in this one. Let's get back to it. And then this one I've grown from a tiny, basically a wet stick. So I'm really proud of this one. And I noticed when I took it out of the tent that the pot is actually creating a different shape because of their roots. So this one we're also gonna repot. If we can get it. Oeh, poppetje! Wat je nou kijken hoeveel wortels! I really like these tall pots, which I got from orchids.nl. But I guess when you repot them afterwards, it's not super practical because either you need another deep pot. But I like them for monsteras because for me they grow so fast, they root so fast, that I keep repotting them every month or so in spring and summer. And I think this one is gonna be for my mom, because she wants one. And this is a nice one with not too much white. It does have some very sad browning leaves I didn't realize it when I was filming this, but that plant and several others were actually covered in thrips. So it was thrips damage that I saw, the brown parts of the leaves. And since I moved them all around and moved them into my living room as well, now currently my tent and my living room have California thrips, and then I have a box full of Marantas that have zebra thrips, which sucks, and I'm treating them very actively. I'll put out a video very soon where I'll show you a little bit more about how I treat against thrips, but yeah, mistake. And I'm actually shocked by the size of these pots. I've been focusing more on Hoya in the last year, basically, and Hoyas definitely have much smaller root systems and much smaller pots. I really have to rush now. I have to teach yoga soon. Shoot! I was planning to do one plant. Done. Mickey! Mickey is feeling very cuddly right now. Ooh. Hi! I need to film, baby. I need to film for the peoples. So this is the one that I grew from a wet stick that I'm actually going to give to my mom. We already chatted about it. And what I really like about this is that you can see... Oh, what is that? There's another node. There's 2 more nodes activated. Look at that. What is happening? What is happening, Mickey? Mickey says, it's just growing in spring. But yeah, apparently there are 2 more nodes activated. That little stick is what I had with one aerial root that was not looking very good. And from that, I've grown this plant. So I'm super proud, even though the thrips damage should have been... Hi, Mickey. It should have been really clear. Unfortunately, I didn't spot it. I'm good at making videos about how to spot it, but then I don't spot it myself. Look at that. Pretty severe damage. Yes. Yes, you're also beautiful. Yes. Okay, focus. So this plant doesn't have as much white, but I don't mind. I like it that way. Let's see. Yeah, this was the first leaf with fenestrations, and then this one is the next one that came out. So you can see the size difference. It's definitely growing bigger and happier as we go, even with the thrips that were on it before. There's also just a lot of dust. And then there is a new leaf about to unfurl. We're not touching it because this is not going to be my plant. This is going to be my mama's plant. She doesn't like me helping out the new leaves. She's like you guys. So that's going really well. She didn't take it with her. She was here last week. But because of the thrips, we actually found an active live thrip on the thrips on this one. Did you know it's actually thrips for both a group and just the one thrips? I always say it wrong, but fun fact for you. Anyway, we decided to keep it here a little bit longer because I have the predatory mites and I can spot them and I can keep an eye on her plant until she's ready to get it. So, update. Going well, but not, well, could have been better if I paid more attention before. Whoops! Next, this one. The update on this one also shows a little bit of thrips damage, I'm afraid, on this one. Although I'm not quite sure. It still looks really good. There's also some browning on this white part, which is normal. And it had this leaf, which is still looking good, except for the little point. But that's acceptable, I think. And then this one, which has lots of browning. That's normal with white leaves, but it doesn't always happen. So I don't really know what the reason is that it is happening on this leaf. It might be the thrip situation, it might not. And then this is the next leaf that came out, which you haven't seen yet. I absolutely love this one. It is a perfect half moon. Well, almost perfect. And it's just so pretty. 5 fenestrations, quite big, bigger than this one at least. And I like that it goes white on the left and on this side, white on the right, white on the left. So I'm expecting the next one to have some white on the right side. And oh, actually, it's already in the making, this next one. Do you see it? Still small, but there. There's some damage here that does not look promising. But like I said, I'm treating as much as I can with the predatory mites and keeping an eye on them and killing all the mature ones that I find. So hopefully it's going to be okay. This one I might keep as my only one from all the ones that I'm Basically, no, that's not true. Of course, I'm keeping my huge one, Fairy, and also my Thai constellation. But all the other propagations, I think, are up for selling, except for this one, because I'm just curious to see how it grows. What do you think? Which one would you keep? Or maybe which one would you buy? It's kind of hard, so maybe put a timestamp with which one you like. I know not a lot of people like to own this kind of plant because it's more of a risk, like this leaf shows you. I know people prefer a more mottled, variegated look, but I absolutely love this sectoral. And I actually feel so lucky to have all my plants grow all of this white. It can have something to do with my big south-facing window, which is super bright. People say that a lot of light may be something to do with it, but that is still a little bit of a mystery. So I just feel very happy and blessed to have plants growing like this. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You're beautiful. Beautiful. Since we started with Thai constellation Thais, I will hold him close. Pop these in for a nice screen grab for my thumbnail. So that's it for this repot. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a very random video. I just wanted to repot this plant and my boyfriend said, you have to film this. You're so enthusiastic and all the roots are awesome. So that's what I did. It's a bit different than what I normally do. So if you don't know me yet, thank you so much for watching. Check out my other videos. If you do know me, thank you so much for sticking around and continuing to watch my videos. My glasses are sliding down and I cannot put them back up. Hold on. Okay, back. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Black balls. My boyfriend is using sticky tape in the next room and it's very loud and distracting. But it's all good. He's making me a surfboard. So I'm not complaining. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my Patreons and my YouTube members. I'm so happy you guys are with me and supporting me. If you're interested in that, please check the links below to learn more. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in another video. Bye friends!
Sorry for all the noise, my fellow YouTubers, my girlfriend is recording next
My boyfriend also makes YouTube videos about surfboards and making your own surfboards and stuff. So check out his channel if you haven't yet. And he is right now filming in the next room. So I'm actually chatting through his video. So we're messing up each other's content, which is perfect. There we go. Time to water them and get clean and teach some yogas. Mickey, it's time to teach some yogas. Mickey?
Yes.
Yes.